Our bodies are constantly filtering, they're processing, and they're clearing what we're taking in, physically, emotionally, and even hormonally. The question is not whether we detox, it's actually, are we supporting our system to do it well? In this episode, we're going to walk through the 3 primary detox pathways: the liver, our kidneys, and our lymphatic system, and how they work together to keep us functioning at our fullest capacity. We're going to be learning how to support what God has designed in us, honoring Him and ourselves by doing so. We're going to break down each system and what they do, and what we usually do to disrupt it in our daily life, and how our small and consistent habits can help our body process and release most effectively. This is about reassembling ourselves from the inside so our bodies do not stay overwhelmed and carry what is meant for us to let go of in every single way. Welcome to Life Reassembled. This is the podcast where we learn how to reassemble our lives. I'm Julie Renee. I'm a life coach specializing in trauma recovery and a speaker. Together, we're going to be exploring what it really means to reassemble our lives on the rock after we've spent our entire lives piecing it together on sand. Here, we're going to talk about healing the mind, renewing the spirit, and organizing the parts of our lives that were once overwhelmed by complete chaos. Each episode is a space for reflection, faith, and practical steps for living with peace and intention. So, take a deep breath with me, settle in with some warm coffee, and let's begin reassembling our lives, piece by piece, together. All right, so let's start with our liver function. Our liver. Yes, we have this beautiful organ inside of us called the liver, and it's our body's processing center. Guys, everything that we put into us goes through the liver. That's why we have to be careful of how much pressure we're putting on it and what we're exposing it to, because it does a lot of work, and we should be really caring for our liver. It's responsible for filtering our toxins that we take in, whether through our environment, through our food, through our skin. All of this goes into our liver to process. It processes our hormones, and it's converting substances into forms that the body can eliminate. You know what I'm saying? So what this looks like in real life. We have to process everything we consume: food, alcohol, medicines, and our liver breaks down those excess hormones as well. And by doing so, it's supporting our energy production and metabolism. So taking care of our liver is very key, obviously. And the best way to do that is to give our liver fun, beautiful things to process. So limiting the types of food we take in. We've talked about the processed foods and how detrimental that is to our bodies. Limiting or completely getting rid of alcohol. And we have to be careful about what medications that we're giving into our bodies as well. This alone will help with what our body needs to detox. And then also fasting gives our livers a break to breathe for a minute. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. The liver performs over 500 functions in our body. Did you guys know that? And it's the only organ that can regenerate itself, even after significant damage. That to me was fascinating when I found that out. Every minute, our liver filters about 1.5 liters of blood. Isn't that crazy, guys? So what we didn't talk about earlier too is that we have to be careful about sugar. Like the sugar really starts attacking our liver. And even though it regenerates itself and it does a lot of work, if we're constantly putting a lot of pressure on it, eventually it's just going to be like, screw this. And it's going to completely just stop working altogether. So if we can eliminate the excess sugar, eliminate additional alcohol, and even our stress, guys, because again, it's affected with our hormones. So the chronic stress that we put on ourselves constantly really affects our liver as well. And we want our livers to work for us because that filtration system keeps us healthy, and we feel really good when our liver is healthy as well. Supportive habits that we can either start adapting now or continue improving on would be whole nutrient-dense foods, especially if we concentrate on the bitter greens. Again, we can have the lemon water after that. We talked about that last time. But that really helps kind of detox the liver itself. So even though our liver is the detox system, it's good for us to detox our liver so it's as healthy as possible. And if we're eating consistently and we're eating right, this alone really helps our liver. So just focusing on taking care of our liver and reassembling our lives with that concentration is going to be life-changing. So let me know how you guys are taking care of your livers today. I want to hear about it. Now let's jump into our kidneys. Our kidney health is our body's filtration system. Kidneys filter the blood, they regulate fluids, and they remove waste through urine, right? So what this looks like in real life, it's balancing our hydration levels. We are so dehydrated, it's ridiculous. If you're waking up and the first thing that you're drinking is coffee, you're already dehydrated. You haven't had any water or any liquids, most likely, for like 8 hours. So why are we just automatically putting coffee into our system without having water first? We need to have water first thing in the morning, ideally having it at room temperature so our body can process it better and it's not like in shock. And then you can have your coffee. It filters toxins from our bloodstream, so it works with the kidneys in that sense. And some fun things to know about kidneys that I found out is that it filters about 50 gallons of blood every single day. Guys, that's a lot of blood. Our kidneys also, they regulate our electrolytes, which is why hydration is so imperative. It helps our kidneys. We want to help our kidneys as much as possible. When you're dehydrated, you're really hurting your kidneys, and you might actually feel it. I don't know if you guys have ever done that, where especially if you are partying all weekend or whatever, you can feel it in your kidneys. Like they feel like they're groaning. They're in so much pain because they're so dehydrated, and it's constantly trying to work with your liver and get that blood moving and like figuring out, okay, where are we going to get our hydration from? We have to take care of our kidneys also. So even having a mild dehydration can really reduce the efficiency significantly, guys. It also directly impacts our energy and our brain functions. Isn't that amazing? So we think that hydration is obviously good for our brain, but it also affects our kidneys. And if our kidneys are failing, it's going to affect our brain function. The whole body works together. It's so beautiful. So if we're taking care of one area, it's usually taking care of more than one. So it's not like this whole crazy list of like, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. No, stay hydrated, eat nutrient-dense foods, eat bitters. Like really, that's like all you have to really concentrate on in regards to the food. And then if you're like me, you work with your hormonal schedule to eat the best foods for that time frame. Some other things that we don't even think about, we have to remember too what salt does. So if we have excess sodium and processed foods that also have a lot of salt in it, that naturally dehydrates us more than anything else. And then if you think about it, if you're going to like a fast food restaurant and you're having that kind of processed foods and those seed oils, and then you're most likely drinking soda or a shake or something like that, it's most likely that you're not hydrating yourself. Your body is working overtime to figure out how to process this food when it's not half the time even real food. And then it has no nutrients in there, barely any, if there is any. And then it's also looking for the hydration, which is very scarce. That's why eating out is so bad for you, especially if you're doing it consistently. Like, I get it. Sometimes that's like your only option. Sometimes I've been there, but to do it on a consistent basis really damages your body in the long run. Your body doesn't know how to function properly on these things. So the ways that we can support our kidneys is to be consistently hydrated. We talked about that. Having mineral-rich fluids, not just plain water. We have to look for the electrolytes. And I know there's so many options out there like, oh, well, I drink Gatorade. No. Gatorade has so much sugar in it. Well, I drink Gatorade Zero. No, there's food dye in it. Like, there's all these different things in drinks that we're not really paying attention to because we're just looking at the label or looking at the sales pitch and we go, oh, well, this has everything I need. No, you have eyes. Hopefully you've learned how to read. And I'm sorry if I'm being really mean right now, but we really need to look at the ingredients. And if you cannot read the ingredients, you most likely shouldn't be eating it. And now they're changing it, guys. It's 2026, the time of this recording. There's companies that are changing how they word things to get around the FDA and get around it where it sounds like one thing, but it's really something else. You cannot tell me that's not from the devil. Do your research, read the ingredients. If you don't recognize an ingredient, most likely don't put it in your body. The term natural flavors is not what you think. What does that mean? It's so generic. There's a whole thing about natural flavors as an ingredient. Stay away from that as well. We can eat real food, guys, and our bodies will thank us for it, and we'll feel better. We'll have the energy. We'll be hydrated. We'll be able to think clearly. And it's the most amazing thing that we can do for ourselves, especially as we're reassembling our lives. We need to take care of our bodies, and taking care of our liver and our kidneys is 100% part of that. Reducing your stress, eating nutrient-dense foods, all this is amazing. There's no reason why we should put unnecessary strain on our systems, especially when we can avoid it. Again, I've been there where sometimes you only have certain options. That's fine, but do your best to make it as limited as possible and as temporary as possible. Having your overall goal be on the other side of it as quickly as you possibly can. And do what you can to switch things out. There's always ways around getting to where you need to be, and you might have to work harder nowadays to eat healthy, especially when all of these companies and all these organizations are trying to go after your wallets. We can take our time and make good choices about what we're putting into our bodies, especially when it comes to day in, day out, and the long run. Do your best to bring snacks with you. Do your best to make your own snacks. And again, I understand certain seasons you're not able to do this. I was poorer than dirt for the longest time when I was married, and I had to figure out ways of making foods that would work for me in order to stay on top of it. Now, it was very difficult, and I had a hard time understanding nutrients and proteins and all of this was very difficult, but I had to figure out a way to make it work where I could still be as healthy as I could in that season for what it was. And I had to work with my situation. So again, I've been there, but I wasn't eating fast food. I wasn't going out. I was going grocery shopping, and I had to be very, very picky about what I was able to buy, not just for me, because I was honestly just really shopping for him, and then I was pretty much having whatever he ate. So I had to make sure, the good news is he wanted to be having this amount of protein, this amount of this amount of that. So that was helpful. And then I just kind of ate whatever he ate. So I was shopping for both of us to a degree and really concentrating on whatever he needed, and then just having his leftovers because he refused to have leftovers. And so I just made that work to the best of my ability, while at the same time utilizing the very limited funds that we had for food to make it last longer, versus buying organic or buying, healthier versions of rice or whatever the case may be. Because again, sometimes when you're poor, buying rice is buying rice, and you can't necessarily pick I want to have jasmine rice and I want to have this. Sometimes you don't have that option. So again, I've been there, I've done it, but I made it work. And so there are ways around it, and you just have to be creative. You have to do trial and error, and don't get hard on yourself for if you feel like you failed. You're not failing when you're trying. You're not failing when you're thinking about your health and you're trying to do what's best between your budget and eating well. And there's so many great resources out there, especially nowadays, of shopping for 10 people on a budget of 100 or something crazy. I'm how in the world are they doing? That's amazing. And they're able to still eat healthy and well. And I know that sometimes you don't have a lot of the kitchen utensils that they may have, or some of the products. I didn't have a blender for the longest time, right? I didn't have a food processing machine. There's things I didn't have that I had to work around, and it took longer to do certain things. And it's just a matter of being creative. It's a matter of, the internet's there for a reason. Okay, how do I do this if I don't have this? And there's always somebody who figured out a way to do it. And it's amazing. So even though it might not be the simplest option. It might not be the easiest option. It might be not the most time efficient option. There's still ways to get healthy and to eat right and take care of our body and support our brain, our heart, our hormones, our liver, our kidneys, and our lymphatic system in such a way that we're able to move towards a healthier lifestyle, because we're trying to eliminate chronic disease. We're trying to eliminate the fatigue. We're trying to eliminate the stress that our bodies are carrying just from what we're eating. Reassembling our lives is more than just waking up and doing our to-do list, guys. It's about reassembling our entire lives, especially when it comes to our insides, taking care of our organs the best way we possibly can. And it does take time, especially if you have no idea what you're doing. It does take time, especially when you're new at this and you're learning and you're coming out of certain situations or you're going into certain seasons. And depending on where you're at, there's always a way to make it work. And I'm so thankful for the resources that we have nowadays that we can take advantage of this in the best way possible. All right, so now we're circling around to our lymphatic system. And this is our body's drainage network. Doesn't that sound like fun? Our lymphatic system moves waste, it moves toxins and our immune cells throughout the body. But it's unlike the heart because it doesn't have a pump. It relies on movement. Our bodies are so intense, guys. Our lymphatic system carries 3 times more fluid than blood plasma through the body daily. That's insane, finding this out. It has no central pump, so it moves when we move. Isn't that cool? So that's why exercise is so imperative. While we need to move, walk, stretch, all of this really helps our lymphatic system. Sitting for long periods of time really slows it down. We can also do rebounding, which is light bouncing. I don't know if you've ever seen those. They're like these little discs almost. And if you just put your hand on the wall for balance and you can just kind of jump up and down those things, or those little trampolines, you've seen that, are so popular because they're so good for our lymphatic system. It's amazing just that little bit of movement, what it does to our body. So just a little bit of bouncing and even deep breathing does a lot for our system. And what's so great is when we sweat, it releases those toxins that our body's working through, and it releases it through our skin. We can get rid of it. So gross, but it's so cool. And a hydration always keeps our lymph nodes moving effectively. Hydration is so key in this, guys. I feel like it should be titled How to Hydrate, why we need to hydrate. It is so imperative, especially, I live in the desert, and so we have a little bit more sun exposure than other areas in the world. And we have to stay hydrated. That's our number one thing. We learn as we're called desert rats. We learn how to stay hydrated, and you need the right sodium, not an excess amount and not the wrong sodium. And you need to have those natural electrolytes that are past just water, because you can die from dehydration from just drinking water. Isn't that insane? I learned this as a kid. I was like, what? Because, you drink water, you're hydrated. No, it is more than that. Having those natural electrolytes really work with our body the correct way. There's so many little intricates inside of us that need certain minerals, and it's so beautiful how it all works together. So the more we know about how our bodies work and function, the more we can support it. And it's easy things that we can just start adapting into our lives a little bit by little bit. Again, I'm not expecting you guys to do a whole grocery overhaul unless you're able to. But for me, I got to do it in stages. What do I need to eat here? What do I need to add there? And just kind of do it in stages and slowly. And I kind of start slowly changing my diet. Now, I do agree, if you have junk in your cabinets, in your fridge, if you have just plain junk, guys, it's going to be trash either in the trash can or trash in your body. You know what I'm saying? Either give it away, which you got to be careful about who you give it away to, because again, you're just kind of passing along to somebody else. So be careful about what you do there, who you give it away to, if you decide to do that, because I'm not a person about wasting food. But at the same time, ding dongs are not real food. I have no issues with throwing away ding dongs. You guys know what I'm saying? And I'm going to say this, and everyone's going to get mad at me. Twinkies. Now I understand that Twinkies now are not the same as back then for whatever reason. The same thing. It's still not food. It wasn't food back then and it's not food today. No problem throwing away Twinkies. Do you guys understand? Again, it's either going to be trash inside of a body or it's going to be trash inside of a trash can, but it's not real food, so it doesn't matter. So throw that away. If anything you do today, throw that away. Throw the junk away. You don't need to try every flavor in the world. You don't need to have all this processed dyes. You guys, there's so many things out right now, especially this year, about food dyes, about seed oils. It's not like it's hidden news anymore. It's not like I have to really announce it where I sound like a crazy person anymore. Thank God. There's actual studies and research, so much so that they're changing the food system. So I'm not the only crazy person if you call that crazy. And I'm just saying, people who don't consume those are usually healthier. So you guys do the research. You guys do the experiments. Try going off of these certain things for a certain amount of time and tell me you don't feel better. Just that alone. All right. So what can we take away from all of this? We're supporting our detox system naturally, guys. All these three things are part of our detox system. And again, fasting is such a good thing to add right here too, because when we fast, we're giving our bodies, like at first it's kind of like jarring, especially if you've never fasted before, but it's so healthy for our bodies. And it gives them a chance to breathe, to get rid of all the extra stuff that it's holding on to. And again, talk with your doctor, figure out what's best for you and how long, because especially if you're new to it, you don't want to do it too much too fast. So do a lot of research before you do any type of fasting. And you have to be careful, especially like if you're diabetic or you have to take certain medications that you need food with. Again, I'm not telling you do a fast today and then you guys come back and get mad at me. You guys are smart enough to know to talk with a health professional if you need to and get that figured out properly before you start any kind of fast. And again, research what works best for you, what works best in your situation. What is it that you're planning on doing? And how to break a fast properly. There's a lot of things that you guys have to put in consideration before I'm just not going to eat for 3 days. Like, whoa, hang on. Let's plan this better. And not only the spiritual aspect of it, obviously is so beautiful and amazing that a lot of people don't even realize, but the physical attributes of fasting and what that does for your body. To give your body a break. We are such consumers, especially in the American culture. We don't know what it's like not to have. And it's really sad. We take advantage of that. We don't realize how incredibly blessed we are sometimes that we can just consume whatever we want, whenever we want, even if we have no money. Even if we are like poorer than dirt, the government will figure out a way to provide for us. Like, this is what's so crazy. And we want to sit here and complain because of what? No. We can let go, we can have control, we can detox our bodies, and it can be the most beautiful thing that you guys have ever experienced. So we don't force our detox, we support it. I want you guys to take what you learned today and do your own research and get more into it. I want this to be more of a way to get excited about it and take the things that you've learned today and to expand it and to really concentrate on it. Hydrate, guys. At the end of the day, hydrate. Move around, even if it's light movement, if it's light lifting, if it's whatever it is, if it's just walking, do something. And then sweat. I hate it. I hate the feeling of sweating, but it's so good for our bodies. And so we really got to sweat in the proper way that you enjoy sweating. Like, I don't enjoy sweating, so I have to be doing something I really enjoy. It don't hurt to sweat, but I don't like sweating. It's so gross. And then also to be calm. Our stress levels help us as well. And so if we eat calmly and we reduce our chronic stress in our lives, that can really help us detox as well. And then reduce your processed foods. Reduce constant snacking, especially when it's not healthy for you. Snack on really good stuff. And less is more. So the less that you put into your body, the less it has to work and the more effective that you will feel and the more energy you will have and the more amazing your body is going to be. Just so thankful, guys. And it will most likely live longer. Because why not? is able to function longer. If you think about taking care of a car, the more you take care of a car, the longer it's going to last. It's the same thing, except our bodies work so much better than a car. All right, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys are doing this week to start your detox cleansing and what you've taken away from this. This is something that's near and dear to my heart because it's so powerful, guys, to really take care of the bodies and to take care of our detox system. Because why not? When our detox system is like aligned and doing its thing properly, oh my gosh, anything after that is going to be easier because our bodies can handle it and it's ready for it. So let's prepare our detox system. Let's get all that in check and let's do it. Let's reassemble. Let's go for it. All right. I love you guys and I will talk to you next week. Thank you for joining us for today's conversation on Life Reassembled. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who is also rebuilding their life, because none of us are meant to do this alone. To keep growing with us, join us on the Life Reassembled Facebook community. Check out our free identity blueprint on our website, or learn more about our coaching and upcoming courses at reassembledlife.com. That's re-assembledlife.com. You can also connect with me on Instagram at Life Reassembled for daily encouragement and resources. Remember that healing doesn't happen overnight, but every small step forward is part of reassembling your life.